Hey guys, Bird Yu-Gi-Oh here. So today I wanted to do another top 10. This one is going to be top 10 staple cards that you should own, especially if you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh. These are some really good cards that you can play in a lot of decks. Some of them you can play in almost any Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Some of them are a little more specific, but we'll get into that. But yeah, if you guys have not already, check out my Patreon. I have lots more content on there, and it's the best way, easiest way to support the channel, so that link will be in the description. But yeah, let's get right into this. So starting off with, so basically I'm going to be going through some monsters, spells, traps, and extra deck monsters. So starting off with a really good staple monster, very, very cheap, but one that you can play in almost any deck, and it's a hand trap, Effect Veiler. You see it in a lot of my videos for a reason, because it's so universal, and it can be used more than once per turn. So it's obviously one, if you open more than one, you can usually still, be fine and still stop your opponent if you can activate two of them. So yeah, that is definitely a card that is pretty much always going to be good. It always has been. So yeah, if you do not have it already, make sure to pick up that. It's definitely a staple you need in most decks. Another really cool card that is, again, another really cheap one. It's another common, Parallel Exceed. Now this is not only used in just like a Cybers deck, because it is just a free Cybers monster, but it's just really good in random decks like Trap Tricks that can make their link, and then you summon this and they change their level to 4, so you then have 2 level 4 Parallel Exceeds on the board that you can then go into any rank 4 that you want. So any deck like that, I think even like Zodiacs can make it. Obviously you have to make the link first to then summon this out, but yeah, it's just good in a lot of different decks where you want to make obviously some easy rank 4s. And then for a couple spells, one of my favorite draw cards and one that you guys see all the time is Pot of Desires. It's a staple for a reason, because it can be played in almost any deck. I think at the moment, one that comes to mind that you can't play it in is Spiral, just because there's too many powerful one-ofs that you have in the deck that you really can't play this, but really any other deck usually benefits from having a Pot of Desires. And it's had so many reprints now. It's just definitely a staple card that you need. And then another spell card that is definitely another one of my favorites is Super Polymerization. It's good to have going first, really good to have going second. It breaks boards with ease, and it's a staple card that you can at minimum play in your side deck in pretty much any deck you play. It's amazing. Obviously you do have to have at least one spot in your extra deck for the target for this, the fusion monster that you make off of this. But otherwise, it's just free. I mean, you discard a card, but your opponent cannot activate any cards or effects in response to this. It's too good. So yeah, definitely a staple card that if you do not have, definitely pick up. And then for a couple traps that I really like as just staples, and obviously they're traps, so they're really good in obviously like a control deck. One of my favorites right now is Dogmatica Punishment. Now it's one of my favorite decks that it's really good in is actually Shaddolls, like a trap heavy Shaddolls, obviously, because you can send App Cologne and just get so much advantage off of that. But then really in any deck, you can send Elder Entity and destroy a card with this effect, plus destroy a card with the Elder Entity that you sent. So Dogmatic Punishment, really cheap and just a really good staple in almost any control deck that you're playing. And then another really good trap that I like, that is really good right now, is Solemn Strike. Now it's obviously a counter trap, so it'll be good in like obviously counter fairies. It's amazing, but really any deck that you are kind of like planning on going first, throwing in a couple Solemn Strikes or 3 of them is really going to help you out, and it's just a really good staple card that, again, if you do not have, Definitely get some. There's even some common reprints that came out in a structure deck, so it's very easy to access, and just a really strong card. And then now for some extra deck monsters, and XCs that I really, really like, and you guys have probably seen it in a lot of deck profiles, because it's, in my opinion, the most universal rank 4 in the game, and that is, of course, Dugaris. I talk about it a lot because it does anything you need it to. Again, so universal, and now it's kind of going up in price, because I think people are kind of actually realizing how good it is. But at one time, it was just a couple bucks. But yeah, pick one up if you do not have one. It's a staple card for any deck that can make rank 4s, because it can, draw you some cards, discard one. It can special summon from the grave, and it can also double the attack of a monster you control. So basically, anything you need it to do, it does for you. Really good card. And then these last few are ones that have gotten a few reprints here. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Borreload Savage Dragon. Now it is just simply one of the best level 8 synchros that is generic. Obviously, you have to have a link monster in the grave to be able to get him out and get his negates and everything. But that's it. Other than that, he's just a free big body negate that is crazy good, and any deck that can make a level 8 synchro will benefit from Borreload Savage. And again, he got a reprint, so he's not crazy expensive, but he's definitely one if you need, again, a really good strong negate. This is usually an easy one to make. And then for a couple links, one of my favorites, IP Masquerena. I was even playing it, I'm generally doing budget stuff, but I was playing this back when it was like a $35 card, because this is probably by far the most generic link monster in the game that still can give you interruptions and just does kind of crazy stuff for you. But it just requires 2 non-link monsters. That's it. And then during your opponent's turn, you're going to be able to link away with it into a bigger monster. But yeah, it's by far, again, the most generic link monster that really just does something really good for you, and just applying a negate or just a big boss monster that your opponent can't get by. So, and again, it got another reprint, so IP Masquerena, definitely a staple card that you should be playing in most of your decks. And then the final card I wanted to talk about is another reprint one, Appaloosa. It's just, from the moment it came out, everyone knew how powerful it was. It's obviously just a super easy negate. It just requires 2+ monsters with different names. It's a link 4. And yeah, simple as that. It's just going to be negating monster effects up to, I believe, like 4 times. So yeah. Usually, this is just a really nice card for a going first deck that can, spam the board maybe. But yeah, these are 10 staples that if you guys do not have already, I would suggest picking them up. They're only going to be going up in price, I feel. Some of these are really easy to get. Obviously Effect Veiler, Strike, even Parallel Exceed. They're all pretty easy to get. But then some of these might not be getting reprints for a while. You never know what Konami's going to do. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.